You are listening to Single Smart Female, Romantic Fairy Godmama Edition. Today's show is sponsored by thecouragekit.com. Are you tired of meeting craptastic men, going on craptastic dates, and feeling craptastically inept at dating and love? Let us rework your dating experiences, single lady. Fun, pleasure, and magic included. No experience required. We'll see you at thecouragekit.com.
Welcome, single smart female, to show 50. I'm your host, Jen Burton, romantic fairy godmama to smart, successful single women around the world. And I'm joined by my co-host, my romantic fairy godmama apprentice, Steph. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Jen.
Are you as excited to be here as I am excited to have you?
Even more. Even more.
The look on your face right now is priceless. So, it's our show-iversary, as you called it before we got on the mic, and I'm very excited. And I'm thinking that maybe we should do something a little special, a topic that is possibly a little bit edgier than our normal topics, maybe a little more controversial.
Guys, this is our 50th podcast, by the way.
50 freaking podcasts, which, thank you, ladies.
Podcastesses.
You have made very special, and I'm excited to see the response from so many of you. I'm glad you're enjoying this because we are really enjoying being here for you. Which brings me back to
the topic.
My edgy topic. So, edgy topic for our show-iversary, 50th. Can you believe that? Show topic is how to have the upper hand in dating for women. Because, Steph?
Yes, Jen?
When women have the upper hand in dating.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I know you know. I just wanted you to say it because it sounds so good when you say it.
Women have the upper hand in dating.
But don't tell the men.
No.
We don't want to rub it in their faces. Well, we do a little, but not that much.
We don't want to hurt their feelings.
No. I don't think it's about feelings, is it? Or is it just odd?
Ego?
Yeah. Or
we don't want to bruise their ego? That sounds almost like, I don't know. I don't want to be patronizing either.
Exactly. Especially with the patriarchy.
Oh dear.
Yes.
That's a whole other topic.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Okay, we'll save that for another show.
Edgy show.
Another edgy show where we can talk about the patriarchy. Okay. So for today's show, we are going to talk about how to have the upper hand in dating. So, and as Steph mentioned, and I did too, and prompted her to mention, women have the upper hand in dating, but truthfully, most of us have no clue that we have the upper hand in dating. And that's part of the reason Single Smart Female exists, because we want to give you the opportunity to understand your upper hand in dating so that you can create the love life that you really want instead of the love life you think you have to settle for.
Settling.
Mm-hmm. With all of that said, I want to move into the first piece of having the upper hand in dating. And it's something that too few women actually do, or when they do it, they're doing it from a male perspective instead of a female perspective. And that is keep your options open until you are in an exclusive romantic relationship. You need to mantourage date, which is different than having a cycle of men or having, just a couple men. Go ahead.
Well, so basically what I'm taking from what you're saying is that it's not about a strategy to get a specific guy and having some rotation of some dudes that you don't really care about or aren't that interested in.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about finding multiple men that you do feel some sort of potential with. And, you don't have to fall in love with every guy that you go take on to your mantourage. That's not what I'm saying. But you want them to you want to have genuine interest in them, because that's how this works. This is not about convincing a guy that you're in high demand. It's reminding yourself
that you're in high demand. and legitimately being in high demand, because you can use that to improve your romantic options. You can use that to explore who you are romantically. Mantourage dating at its essence is dating more than one man at a time until you find your forever man, or indefinitely. And it's a method. It's a very nuanced method, though, that we use on Single Smart Female, so that you get to explore your romantic potential, versus what most women do is they kind of half-ass their dating life. They see dating as a necessary evil. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be evil, or it's necessary, but it doesn't have to be evil. Actually, it doesn't even have to be necessary, but it's an opportunity for you.
Yeah, maybe don't look at it like a means to an end, but more so as an adventure in itself, as something that's actually enjoyable.
It's something that it can lead to love. It can have that purpose as the means to the end part. But when you take it as an adventure, where it ends up can be so much better. And in fact, it's the start of an adventure, and that you continue in the context of a relationship if you want to. Or we're also telling you that you don't have to be conditioned by society to think that it has to lead into a relationship. If you want it to extend it indefinitely, that is your right as a woman, and something that you should definitely explore and help you open up to the potential of mantourage dating and eventually love, if you would like to be in an exclusive relationship with someone. So I'm thinking back to when I first started mantourage dating. I had approached previously in my love life. It was, I did what a lot of women do. I would meet a guy, we'd go out on a few dates. I'd hope really hard that things would work out, and all of a sudden his attention would start waning, and then I'd start over texting and over communicating, trying to figure things out with him. I'd ask every one of my girlfriends, every one of my guy friends, what does this mean? Well, he said this. What do I do? How do I act? How do I get his attention back again? And I would drive everybody around me crazy, but most of all, I drove myself crazy, and it wasn't leading to anything that I wanted long term. And it was no fun. The fun that I might have felt for that momentary kiss I had with him, or the moment, that he contacted me and then realized that all of my energy was directed at him before he had decided that he really cared about me. And so his attention started to turn away from me. It was so fleeting. But when I decided in 2006 to do dating differently than I've ever done before and open up my options, like true, genuine options, the one, like, as you were speaking of earlier, Steph, everything changed. The way men treated me changed. The way I felt about myself changed. The way I interacted with women changed. I got so much more out of my dating experience than just finding my husband. I got so much more than that. My life changed in so many ways, and my life will never be the same again, because I'm no longer living from settling for scraps of romantic attention from a man who's not really paying that much attention to me. It's eye-opening, it's life-changing, and it's something that I encourage all women to try on for themselves and really give themselves the opportunity to do it. Now, I do. I hear women say, well, I've tried dating more than one man. I don't like it. You haven't tried it the way Steph and I do it. I can guarantee you that it's nuanced and it's particular to you. So there's a great foundation that's very nuanced and based on who you are romantically. And then you use that foundation to tweak for your own specific love life. And you're going to learn things about yourself that you never knew. You're going to learn how, and I'm not talking superficially, but how truly valuable you are romantically. And you'll start to feel it in your soul. You'll start to love the right attention that you get from certain men. You'll start to see men in a completely different light and realize that, men are not the enemy. Men are not the ones that are supposed to be idolized either, that we really are muses for men. We are their weak spot. We are, what they they secretly want to make happy, sometimes not so secretly. They love to put smiles on our faces. They want to make us happy. And these are things that I never realized until I started my Mantourage dating experience. And I have truly fallen in love with men. And it's not the obsessive love or the lovesick love that I experienced so many times before, that I really enjoy having men in my life. And you, Steph, you've spoken of a man who we call Magic, and one of the things he said to you, I'm going to let you say it about how much he loves spending time with you because of when you're out, and I'll let you go from there.
Oh, yes. Okay. So there's like kind of two parts to this. He said that he hasn't been with somebody who treats him the way that I do in a very long time. And that the way that I appreciate him makes him feel amazing, because when we go out together, he said to me, it's like you're proud to be out with me.
And most men have no clue what that feels like with women, because we focus so much on criticizing them, or if we do really like them, we shut down when we're around them because we get too nervous.
You don't want to be too interested or show him.
You're so afraid you have to play by the right rules in order to have a great, for him to notice you for long-term potential. And it's such crap. Quit playing by those rules. Play by your own rules. Play by some of our rules. Make our rules your rules. Have some fun with this. You ultimately get to call the romantic shots. But because we put so much emphasis on men, we think it's them calling the shots. They don't call the romantic shots. We get to decide who we go out with, how long we date, if we're going to sleep with them. We get to decide, and by turning the focus on ourselves instead of them, we get to decide how things are going to proceed in our own romantic life.
And you know what? It's interesting. You mentioned like the sleeping with them and everything. So, and we've mentioned this multiple times, with Mantourage dating, that does not mean that you have to sleep with every man that you're dating. Also, just in case anybody's curious, I have dated multiple men at the same time for months at a time, having never had any sexual contact with them, making out, kissing and stuff, but nothing under clothing. No, nothing at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No heavy petting even?
Barely.
Mm-hmm.
Months these men still continued to want to take me on dates and be with me and spend time with me. And they, of course, they wanted to have sex with me too, but I wasn't ready for it for my own personal reasons. And that's fine. Most men, while they want to sleep with you,
most men that are worth your time will wait for you to be ready.
Exactly.
And if they leave because you don't sleep with them, then you know that they weren't a good fit for you. They weren't the right man for you. And so I need you, as a single smart female, from here on out, to keep your romantic options open. I want you to understand you truly do have the upper hand in dating. And that's the first piece of it. Keep your romantic options open. It's time to create your Mantourage, and no exclusivity. Don't give your exclusivity away on a whim. No exclusivity until he either ask you or the two of you talk about it, about being in an exclusive relationship. No more of this, making yourself exclusive to somebody because you're afraid that he might find out that you're dating other people and things like that, and he won't want you anymore. If he doesn't want you, once he finds out that you're not in an exclusive relationship, the two of you, he knows you're not in an exclusive relationship and he doesn't want you because he finds out you're dating other people, that guy wasn't worth your time in the first place. Alrighty. Number 2, Steph, this is one of my favorites for how to have the upper hand in dating. And that's have good dating boundaries and romantic boundaries, but don't be afraid of romantic vulnerability.
Yes. Oh, this is so great. On so many different levels. So like, as far as boundaries go, men respect the hell out of you if you are willing to maintain your boundaries. So something, just as a side note, if you're not 100% sure, let's say a sexual boundary, right? If you're not 100% sure that you won't cave, and I say cave in a way like as if you were asserting yourself to not have sex with him on date number 2. I'm not going to have sex with you. And you're not 100% sure that he might not convince you of that fact or to do that with him, then don't say that. You don't need to assert false boundaries. But how do I put this? So basically, if you do believe in a boundary that you're setting and you make it clear, then you stick to it. That's the key. And if it's something that you're unsure about, keep that boundary in your head.
Mm-hmm. So you don't invalidate it.
So you don't invalidate yourself and your boundaries.
Very good. And with that said, if you need some help with that, you can go to the site datingboundaries.com. And Steph and I have a short class that we will give you for free on dating boundaries. It's really important that you have good dating boundaries. Now, we're not talking about walls. We're not talking about building your boundaries so high that he could never get over them, but it's datingboundaries.com. Go check that out. And let's go back and tie this into romantic vulnerability, because this is super important. And one of the things that I think that Steph is exceptionally good at is romantic vulnerability.
Ooh, well, thank you, Jen. Yeah, well, it is something that I have. It's almost like a skill that I've started to hone, or that I've been honing for a while, I guess. Honing. Sounds weird. Sounds dirty.
I like it when you talk dirty.
But yeah, so basically it's you do not have to pretend that you're not interested in somebody. That's just silly to me.
Yes.
It's so silly. And okay, so being romantically vulnerable, being willing to put yourself out there, fully knowing that you may not get the response that you're looking for, but you do it anyways. And a lot of times you do get a wonderful response, because a lot of, okay, here's an example. So a guy says, hey, you want to hang out on Saturday? No, I'm not really interested in hanging out with you, but if you'd like to take me on a date, I would love to go to insert place you would like to go.
So you're asserting a boundary plus being romantically vulnerable at the same time. That's brilliant.
Thank you. We hear this a lot. Actually, I hear this a lot too from some younger ladies that I know. They actually make fun of me. They're like, you just don't get it because young people dating is different than old people dating.
They call you old?
Well, I'm old compared to them.
Oh my God, I must be ancient right now.
I know. You're so old.
You're old. I'm ancient. And I'm...
But it works for anybody. It really, really does. It's just you can't be afraid to. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to acknowledge what you're interested in.
What turns you on.
What turns you on.
What lights you up.
Acknowledge that you like them.
Yes. Men are really drawn to women that like them.
Yeah.
But that do it in a way that they're unapologetically romantic.
Yes, exactly. I'm corny as hell.
And men love it.
They do.
Because you're not apologetic about it.
Yeah.
You're not, you're not acting like you're somebody else. You're not trying to be perfect all the time. You're not trying to fit his idea of what you think he wants in a woman. You're just being you.
Yes, exactly.
Which gives her a lot of permission when gives herself permission to be her. It gives Steph a lot of permission, and women, and it'll give you permission too when you do that, to let your more seductive side come out. Let her come out to play, because you're not going to be afraid of being romantically vulnerable. Plus, when you have the good boundaries in place as well, let's say if it doesn't work out the way you want to, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You are unlikely to be devastated in those moments. You can see what's happening for the greater good of your romantic life.
And I've been on both sides of that. I've been on where it works out exactly in my favor, and also where it didn't. But I never regretted acknowledging how I felt and what I wanted, because I know that, we all do this. What if I would have actually told him that I liked him? Maybe he didn't realize that I liked him. Maybe he didn't realize what I really wanted. He didn't pick up on any of my hints, like that. None of that's. And you don't have to. Okay, to be fair, like you don't have to just like straight up assert yourself or anything like that. But
you can be playful and seductive and have fun with it. I want to make a point about that, about what women are the shit that they're being fed, the candy coated crap that's coming out of other people that teach dating and some of the old stuff, especially the book, The Rules, which things like that. I mean, there's this whole thing of how women need to be or men need to pursue. Yes, men do very well pursuing, but pursuing doesn't mean that you have to pretend you have no interest. And that Steph's laughing at me right now.
That's just so silly to me.
It is. It's really ridiculous because it's game playing, and game playing only works temporarily. Yeah. Game playing, once you set it up that way, you've set the precedent to have to game play your entire relationship. And how fucking tedious is that?
It's exhausting.
We have other things to do than focus on how we play the game with men all the time. Mm-hmm. By the way, most mentally stable men don't find it attractive long term.
Oh, here's another thing. Sorry, just thought about this. Well, actually, let's move on to the next one because I think this probably coincides with that.
Actually, Steph, funny enough, you have already led us into number 3, which was don't be shy about what you want.
And that's exactly where I was going.
Okay.
And so, a lot of women want a lot of different things out of relationships. And you see so many different things on the internet. Like, is it okay to ask a man about... When is it okay to ask a man if he's interested in marriage? When is it okay to ask a man if he wants to have kids? Is it too soon to sleep with him?
Did I sleep with him too soon?
Did I sleep with him too soon? Yeah. Like all of that stuff. Number one, as long as you don't automatically apply, how do I even put this? Look, you can straight up tell a man without making it his fault if he doesn't want the same things that you want. You can tell him what you want. And most of the time, men are going to, especially if they're interested in you, they're going to do everything they can to give you what you want. And that can be as simple as expressing where you want to go on a date and what kind of flowers you would like him to bring you on your date.
Mm-hmm. I have something to say about that. I have a client that I've been working with recently she's a very, very successful private client of mine. And we were talking about whether or not how she should approach a man that she had been dating and kept going MIA on her. And they finally had set up a new date and he'd come back into her realm. And she was like, I really want to get flowers from him. I've never gotten anything like that. And so I told her exactly how to make it happen and set it up. And she comes back, she goes, and she was I could tell it sounded like she was kind of frustrated, but I wasn't sure. So I wanted to double check because it was over a message and sometimes you can lose tone in message. But she asked me, she goes, are you telling me that I have been fascinated with the pencils at the dollar store instead of shopping at Bergdorf's? Is that how you say
probably.
It?
Yeah, Bergdorf's. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fancy store.
Exactly. And I started to smile because yes, she had no idea all this time, even she'd worked very hard in her career, had gone very far. She had no idea that she was settling for romantic scraps. And I was showing her the new world, but I told her, and this is what I said, it's very important as you learn exactly what you want and how to convey that to a man that inspires him to want to give that to you versus making him feel like you're just kind of a bratty little girl who's just screaming for whatever she wants. But the other piece of that is that I know you've been fascinated with the pencils at the dollar store, but I want you to keep that fascination, not necessarily with the pencils at the dollar store, but keep that fascination as your romantic appetite grows. and you can start using your imagination, your romantic creative capacity to really dream of everything you want to create in your romantic life, and then ask him to step into that world with you, which is a completely different dynamic.
And it's easy to do, and it feels scary at first, but really all you ever have to do is say, I would really love it if...
That's a great one.
Or, yeah, I would be over the moon for...
One of my favorites. You can use phrases like that. There are lots of different creative ways that you can do it, but you have to remember, even if you haven't seen evidence of this in your life, men ultimately want to be with the woman that they can't resist, that they can't stop thinking about, and they want to contribute to their happiness, to her happiness, not their happiness, but her happiness. Men thrive in your appreciation and making you happy, but they can't be responsible for all of your happiness. So that's why it's so important, and why we put so much emphasis not on what men want. We'll talk about that a little here and there, but we put so much emphasis on you and developing you as an amazing female, and then teaching you how to create space in your life for him. But stop worrying about him, because you have the upper hand in dating Lovergirl. It's all you.
This show is brought to you by Irresistibility, help for women with online dating. Are you experiencing inbox crickets or real-life crazies? It's not you, it's your online profile. Let us help you do online dating that leads to real-life love and romance. Go to helpmeonlinedate.com and we will send you the first 2 video chapters of our program for free.
Thank you, Lovergirl, for joining me today on Single Smart Female. Be sure to subscribe to our show, and I'm looking forward to the next time. Here's to you having everything you want romantically.